get things going. All right, this is the call to talk. Good day, fellow Rotarians and guests. I'd like to call this our scheduled meeting, our third scheduled meeting for July 20th to order. It's indeed a pleasure to have you guys here, taking time to attend this meeting. Today, albeit via Zoom. And I want to turn the program over to our moderator for today, Rotarian Alondra Russell.
All right. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much, President Michael Wilson. I am so excited to be able to participate in today's agenda as an official Rotarian. So yay to me. Now at this time, I would like for us, if you can, to utilize your chat and just type in one word to describe how you are currently feeling, all right? For me, obviously, it is excited. So let's get an idea of how the mood is right now in the midst of excited. I see that. I see Sandra is feeling amazing. Any other feelings from us? Anything else? Okay. It seems as though everyone is pretty much feeling excited. Awesome sauce. So with that, we know all things begin with acknowledging our creator. So we're going to call Mr. Nemiko Miller at this time with the Rotary Grace.
Good afternoon. Almighty God, we beseech thy guidance and wisdom for this worldwide organization of Rotary International. Devoted to service above self, may each one of us be inspired to respond to the opportunities for better serving our fellow man. And may these provisions of thy bounty, so graciously given, be thankfully received. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Ms. Nemiko Miller. Coming now with the loyal toast will be none other than Rotarian Nadia Bain.
Rotarians and guests, I ask you to raise your glasses to toast to the Queen and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Queen
and
Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you, Nadia. Now, one thing about Rotary Club of Nassau, we know how to make you feel welcomed. Once you step foot into this club meeting, you feel as though you are home amongst family. But coming to officially welcome our guest will be none other than Rotarian Wayne Miller.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I just hope that every one of you had a successful week past, and this week also bring you many blessings upon you, and I hope that you feel welcome. Pastor Joel jokes, I wish to share some with you. He said that one day he came to church. He was being escorted to the usher. The usher refused to put her in the front row where she wanted to go, but instead he sit there because and when he fell asleep, the lady said to the usher, "Do you know who I am?" The usher replied, "No, ma'am." She said, "I am the pastor's mother." In amazement, the usher looked at the elderly lady and he said to her, "Ma'am, do you know who I am?" She said, "No." The usher breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Thank God." So I just hope that lightened up your moment. Anyway, with that, I wish to say a special welcome to all our guests. And I want to let you know that not to worry, you all have front row seat right here this afternoon. So on behalf of our president, Michael, we extend our deepest appreciation, particularly to our visiting Rotary, and gratitude to you for choosing us, really choosing us, and choosing to be with us today during this particular time. So we trust that you have a wonderful, wonderful and enjoyable moment with us today. Now, is there any visiting Rotarians? Can you make yourself known to us at this time, please? Any visiting Rotarians?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kimberly DeZong from the Rotary Club of St. Martin Sunset, and I'm the president-elect for the year 2022.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow, Kimberly. Yeah, good. Man, we are so glad to have you, Kimberly. Really, we are so glad to have you president-elect. And we trust and pray that your join, your presidency, your sojourn would be a wonderful and a joyous time and be many benefits to the Rotary Club there in your island. Any word you want to say, Kimberly, to us?
No, I've attended this meeting. I've attended this club's meeting once already, and we've partnered with you guys. I'm sure that we're gonna have a dynamic meeting today. So I just want to tell everybody hello from Sunshine City.
Thank you, and hello, 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 hello as well. We sure
Right.
appreciate your attendance there today. Good.
Thank
Any
you.
other visiting Rotarians?
Good afternoon.
Sorry. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I am Kathy Africa. I am also from the same club as Kimberly, but I'm hearing you from the French side of the island.
Okay, that's good. Excellent, excellent stuff, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for chiming in. I tell you, this Zoom works wonders, eh? We can visit from all over. And we're so happy to have you here, man. And we pray that, you know, this meeting will be a very blessing meeting to you and to yours. Anyone else?
Yes,
Yes.
Sharia Agley, sorry, from Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise. Glad to be here.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good. Me glad to have you here. Glad to have you here.
Thank
and we
you.
trust that you benefit much from our meeting. Anyone else?
Yes, good afternoon. Hi, my name is Melanie Halkitis, and I'm from Sharia's Club, Nassau Sunrise in the Bahamas, and it's nice to be here.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it so much. Thank you. I think I heard somebody else trying to chime in.
Yes, good afternoon, Magdalena Penn from the Rotary Club of Cat Island. Hello, everyone. Beautiful Cat Island.
Cat Island, woo.
Yes, thank
Cat
you.
Island in the house. Cat Island in the house.
Yes, I'm amazed.
Cat Island, beautiful.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Okay, nice to have you here. We truly appreciate your presence.
Thank you.
Cat Island house. Anyone else?
Good afternoon, Melanie Spence Cartwright, from Nassau Sunrise as well.
Thank you so much, Melanie. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Is there anyone else? Why there anyone else? Okay, so that's all our visiting Rotarians, and I'm quite sure President Mike will have a word for you when he comes on. We will really want to welcome you. We say a big, heartfelt welcome to you, because you could have been any place else. So we are truly appreciative of you joining us today. Truly. Any greetings from any visiting Rotarians? Any introduction of any non-Rotarians?
Hi, Wayne. This is Chantel. Dr. Anita is not able to make it today, but she has her guest on again. I think it's probably a fourth meeting. Dana Davis-Mott.
Okay. Dana Davis-Mott, are you present? Do you want to say hi to the club? Hi, Dana. Okay. Well, anyway, I just wanted to let Dana know we own her. You done visit 4 times, we own you. So we expect to see a membership coming in from you soon. We have rights to you now after four visits. Any other guests? Do you have any other guests from any of your fellow Rotarians?
Well, this is Lana Basiliga. It's my second revisit. I want to rejoin the club, and so I'm present.
Hi,
Well,
Lana,
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome. And I'm quite sure, Chantel, they will get to you.
Please
send her that email right now.
send me
before she
that
change her
email
mind.
right now. I won't change my
Right
mind.
now. I want hot on the press.
Yes.
Right now before she changes her mind. Good. I'm so happy.
I think Dana might be trying to say hello.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry. I was having a little technical difficulties, but I'm here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Dana, well, if you didn't hear it before, we own you. We own you. After 4 visits, we own you, okay? We'll expect to receive the email from you, okay? We're so happy that you always find it exciting and find time. We thank you that you find time to join with us, man. We appreciate that so much. So
I see that we also have with us Miss Crystal Roll, who is a guest of immediate past President Stephen. This is her first time visiting with us, and we'd like to welcome her. And also joining us again today is Gina Bethel. This is her second time with us, and she's also a
beautiful
of immediate past President Stephen. Welcome to you.
Okay, good. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Well, of course, if it's a third time, and if you have anything to do with Stephen Dane, I am quite sure there's a strategy behind that. So we'll be expecting your letter soon. So we can send you something so you can sign up, all right, to the fastest growing club in the Bahamas, right? So we're happy to have both of you here, and we thank you for being here with us today, all right? I don't know if any of you wish to say anything. You want to say hi and hello to the club?
Well, hi again, everybody. Gina Marie Bethel here, and it's good to be back for a third time, and I am enjoying all of the meetings thus far, gotta tell you.
Awesome.
We enjoy having you. We enjoy having you so much. So much so that we want you to be a permanent member of our club, okay? Okay, good, beautiful. Well, let's go. We have to get some fines in, ladies and gentlemen. We have to get some fines in. So now we got to get some fines. That's the only way the club moves. So any Rotarian that does not have his or her pin on, that's a fine. Madam Secretary, please make note. Please make note. We need you to open those cameras up, and we need to show whether or not you have your pins on. Because you don't have your pins on, that's a fine, eh? That's how we're able to sustain our club. And then for those who came late, that's also a fine. And I'm quite sure Madam Secretary is making note of those fines. So, and I trust and hope that you all will have a beautiful, beautiful day moving forward and enjoy our meeting. Thank you so much. And now I turn it back over to Rotarian Alandra.
Alandra, thank you so much, Rotarian Wayne Miller. And a special welcome again to all of our guests who are joining us on today. At this moment, we're going to call on Rotarian Matisse Knowles, who will share with us this afternoon for our education segment. Ms. Knowles?
A pleasant good afternoon, Rotarians. How are you doing today?
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes, awesome.
Okay, excellent. So today we're going to highlight Rotary's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Here at Rotary, we believe that exemplifying and embracing diversity, equity and inclusions, which is DEI, should be a part of everything we do at Rotary. To ensure we live up to that ideal, the Board of Directors and our DEI Task Force acted to strengthen the DEI statement originally adopted in 2019. The result is in a new commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. At Rotary, we understand that cultivating a diverse, equitable, and inclusive culture is essential to realizing our vision of a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. We value diversity and celebrate the contributions of people of all backgrounds across age, ethnicity, race, color, disability, learning style, religion, faith, socioeconomic status, culture, marital status, languages spoken, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity, as well as differences in ideas, thoughts, values, and beliefs. Recognizing that individuals from certain groups have historically experienced barriers to membership, participation, and leadership, we commit to advancing equity in all aspects of Rotary, including our community partnerships, so that each person has the necessary access to resources, opportunities, networks, and support to thrive. We believe that all people hold visible and invisible qualities that inherently make them unique. And we strive to create an inclusive culture where each person knows they are valued and belong. In line with our value of integrity, we are committed to being honest and transparent about where we are in our DEI journey as an organization and to continuing to learn and to do better. So Rotarians, I am proud to be a part of our club that is extremely diverse and that aims to include everyone from different backgrounds to be a part. So to our new members, welcome, you've joined the right club. To our prospective members, you are also welcome to join the best club in Nassau. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Knowles. Awesome presentation. I can say as an educator for me, I wholeheartedly understand the importance of remaining abreast with current trends, as well as keeping relevant as it relates to things that are occurring around us. And with that, we're going to welcome back at this time our illustrious president, Rotarian Michael Wilson, with remarks and announcements.
Good afternoon again. Just going to briefly touch on some points. We had the first in the series of monthly meetings for the Rotary Clubs of Bahamas Presidents that was held last evening. And we had some points of note coming out of that meeting. Invoices for District 7020 dues have been issued. And whether you like to pay biannually or one-time payment, I encourage you to move promptly in remitting these funds. Secondly, the RCOB website is currently under construction. This is being done by Kyle Thompson, a Rotaractor. It's being reformulated from scratch. It will provide individual links to each club, and it will feature an event calendar for each club. We had a query from AG Ken Strawn. Under past President Dean, we started a diabetes initiative. That was briefly put on hold, and I think it was being spearheaded by Dr. Rashan Wallace. She should be returning to the club probably by the end of August, September, and we hope to get this work resumed. Another item coming up, we have our satellite club in Cat Island. We're tentatively scheduling the inauguration of that club for the 4th to the 6th of August. Once we firm up all the costs, we can put an invitation out to club members who may want to attend. The 4th is a Wednesday, and you'd fly into Cat Island about midday on Wednesday, returning about midday on Friday. Round trip tickets about $230 bucks. And we're looking at some villas that are roughly 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom villas that are about $520 a night. So you can split the cost. So just let us know if you're interested in traveling. I had some discussions with Sheila, our club trainer, recently. And the sailing club, which will be our home venue for meetings once we fully resume, they've agreed that once we can produce members who have had their second COVID shot and pass the 2 weeks before they're fully immune, we can start having in-person meetings up to 40 people inside the sailing club. And we'll also continue with our Zoom meetings. So we'll keep you updated on this initiative. What I propose to do, if you could just let us know via the RCN chat if you've had both shots for COVID, so we can, because we have to produce paperwork to the sailing club to show that that is the case. Couple projects that also came, possible projects that also came out of the president's meeting last evening. We're gonna have a follow-up brainstorming session next Monday, the 26th, but give you an idea of some of the things we're looking at. As a joint project between all the Rotary clubs here in Nassau or in the Bahamas, we could consider the possibility of sponsoring a drinking water well as a part of the hand wash project in Haiti, where we pool our resources and provide good drinking water to, say, a community in Haiti. We're looking at about $20,000 per well and the associated equipment. This is one of the things we're going to be discussing. And also coming out of the meeting, AG Ken commented that the public library down at Parliament Square is in dire need of some reading material. Possibly we can look at restocking, some books into that library. And that essentially covers the main topics coming out of the meeting. I'll turn it back over to you, Rotarian Alondra.
All right, good stuff. Thank you so much, President Michael. At this time, I'm going to share a quick quote. I was contemplating sharing a joke, but that was an epic fail. That is not my calling. So this is where I'm at right now. And it goes like this. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know, the only ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found out how to serve. And it's an awesome thing to know that all of us that are currently in this organization are doing that. We found our purposes, we are serving. So I would warrant that we are a lot of happy folks. We are some happy folks. So coming now with the Secretary's report will be Rotarian Chantel, immediately followed by the Treasurer's report, which will be done by Rotarian Sandra.
Hello, good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. So my secretary's report today is not very long. So I want to remind our members, especially our newer members, that you need to register on My Rotary. Last week, I talked about registering on Club Runner. So we need you to register on myrotary.org. So you can see you can register. There's a button here or down here so that you can register. Once you have registered, then we need you to go to the Learning Center. And the Learning Center gives you information about Rotary. You can do different courses here on Rotary. The general information you can find here about Rotary. So if you go in there, it has like Rotary Basics. It has information about each of the different committees. You also have the option for the persons who are joining committees this year. You also have the option to look at the different committees, the service club, the membership club. You can go, committee, sorry, and you can get a better idea of what it is that Rotary is all about in the different committees in the club. Once you have done the training, you will get a certificate. And I'm asking that once you get the certificate to please share it with me. If you don't have my email address, you have me in the chat, but if you'll reach out and you can send that to me, because we do want to keep a record of all the training that is being done. And unfortunately, this is not automatically sent to me. Okay, so we encourage you to do that. And that is actually my very brief report for today. I was hoping that Rotarian Anita would have been able to present an update, but she's not able to join us today. So unless there are any questions, I'll turn it back over to you, Alondra.
Can I make one addition, something I missed out in my previous remarks?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, an update on the young toddler that we started with last year with regards to, he's in need of a corneal transplant. He and his mother finally got their passport straight, well, up to late Friday afternoon, and she got their police certificates to travel yesterday. Unfortunately, the trip will have to be rescheduled because they were due in Florida for the first set of examinations today. I want to make an appeal to our club members to assist in defraying the expenses associated with this trip. It's going to run probably about $4,500 to $5,000. And so if anybody can contribute, just contact myself or Rotarian Chantel. Like I say, this whole situation came out of the vision screening we did at Stephen Dillard about 3 or 4 months ago. And hopefully we can restore sight to this young child. Like I say, he's only 2 years of age and he's already challenged with his vision. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, President Mike. Coming now with the treasurer's report will be Rotarian Sandra.
No.
Good afternoon, all. The Treasury report this time is a bit repetitive, which is just to simply remind members of 2 installments available when it comes to membership fees and dues. I've received some payments. I appreciate that for those who have. Once you have credited the appropriate account, it is in the WhatsApp group. You can just give me a private message and let me know so that I can log that. I'm now in the process of just gathering reviewing the invoices for Club Runner ads and other businesses, but I want the members to just let me know also if it applies to you, those fines for the pins and being late, because I haven't gotten anyone saying anything. I'm sure somebody didn't have their pin on. So you could just go ahead and happily give towards that. But focus on your payments and for the membership dues. Remember, you have 2 installment opportunities. You can do it that way if you'd like. The total is $425. That includes the registration for the new persons, of course. But otherwise, it's $400 divided by 2, and you can do 2 installments. Last time I didn't say that we also have my assistant Rakira, so from time to time you will be also hearing from her, and I'd like to already welcome and congratulate our treasurer in Cat Island also, and that'll be it for the treasurer's report.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rotarian Sandra. At this time, we're going to call on Rotarian Lizette with the membership report.
My apologies. Good afternoon, everyone. We're pleased to say that we inducted at least 5 new employees last week, and you would have been introduced to them. We do have a number of prospects who have indicated their desire to join the club, and so we'll be actively following up with them and communicating in that regard. I will liaise with Sheila with respect to arranging the information process and orientation for those who meet the requirements. Additional information will be forthcoming, and I would like to say that you will hear from my assistant as well. That is Rotarian, the Deputy Director of Membership, Rotarian Keno McCartney, at points as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Rotarian. Lizette, thank you so much. All right, at this time, the moment we've been waiting for, the introduction of our
Before we start, there's one from Landra. There's a birthday report for this week. Ms. Lizette?
We do have a very special Rotarian who is celebrating, and that will be on the 23rd. That is our very own Rashan Dean Wallace. She is being shown on the screen for those of you who may not know her. Please join us in extending a very happy birthday to her. You'll see that she was very instrumental in our vision screening program. You would have heard President Mike speak about it with the young toddler who was going off. So I invite you to join me in saying happy birthday to Rotarian Rashad.
Happy birthday, Rochelle.
Happy birthday, Rochelle.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Rochelle.
Happy birthday, Rochelle.
Happy birthday, Rashawn.
Awesome sauce. Happy birthday, Rashawn. Wishing you many more.
Yes,
So
happy birthday, Rochelle.
at this time, we're going to call on Rotarian Sophia Walker, who is going to introduce our dynamic speaker for this afternoon. I am so excited about what is going to be discussed here this afternoon, mainly because it targets the women them. So go right ahead, Ms. Sophia Walker.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Okay. Rochelle R. Dean, SME, is a certified project consultant, management professional, and sustainability subject matter expert. She has over 5 years experience in global advocacy and international development. She has also co-chaired internationally for UNDSA. She was the sole contributor of the amendments to the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2018 and also made contributions to the Nonprofit Act 2019 during her tenure on the Economic Development Committee of the Organization for Responsible Governance and currently serves as Regional Program Manager for the Americas of Ananke Magazine and Country Contact for Women's Human Rights Campaign, Bahamas chapter. Rochelle is a devout Christian and has 3 daughters. Please welcome Rochelle R. Dean, our guest speaker for today.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes.
Wonderful. So my name is Rochelle Dean. I think you guys did an excellent job on introducing me. And I'm excited to speak to you today about women's rights in the Bahamas and where we have come from and where we are now today. It would be interesting for you guys to know that we have developed as a nation as it relates to women's rights. And just disseminating that information to the Rotary Club, I think will definitely continue to strengthen the advocacy of women in the Bahamas. Next slide, please. So women's rights in the Bahamas began with the women's suffrage movement in 1962. And its founding president, Mary Ingram, charted the way for advocacy of women as a suffragist, along with its other members, Georgina Simonet, Eugenia Lockhart, and Mabel Walker. By 1967, women had galvanized themselves and contributed to majority rule and a change in governance in the Bahamas. I think this is so important because it was at this moment that advocacy began for women in the country. Being an activist right now in the Bahamas is major, and there are so many women who have progressed to the level of advocacy. So to have these women who were domestic workers and helpmates be able to contribute to majority rule to this level in terms of being organizationally organized and having that management kind of style really spoke to the baseline of what the Bahamas is. And so we're talking about women specifically being not only the helpmates of men, but also the managers of the home. So at this particular moment, the Bahamas became a nest egg, a home where our activists began to make the changes that we needed in order for women to progress. So this set into motion a significant change for the entire country and ultimately power that would shift societal norms that we still see today. Next slide, please. So we go into those societal changes. And with this shift, we have seen women rise to significant positions politically as equal opportunity change makers in society. So we have had the first female governor general, we've had the first female deputy prime minister, we've had the first female attorney general, we've had the first female speaker of the House, we've had the first female leader of the Senate, and we've had the first female chief justice. And of course, we are still waiting for that NBA moment when we have the first female prime minister. And so we see that our activism and our opportunities have helped to advance women to positions of political power in the country. Next slide, please. Along with our advocacy, there also came international advocacy. And so with that, we've had international inclusion for Bahamian women. And of course, we know the matriarch of that is the one and only, our Marion Bethel Sayers, who sits on the committee for CEDAW as an expert. So she's a trailblazer, and she began what was inclusion for women in the Bahamas in terms of international advocacy. Next slide, please. And then, of course, we have myself. So I'm Rochelle Dean, and I am a subject matter SME for the Agenda 2030, which are the Sustainable Development Goals. With the Sustainable Development Goals, they set the standard for international development, as well as for every single country in the world. And so the inclusion is there for women as it relates to global advocacy. So right now in the Bahamas, we have women who have plummeted, well, I wouldn't say plummeted, but have curtailed and as well as have elevated themselves to major positions within the world. Next slide, please. And so we go back to the advancements of women's rights. In 2015, of course, there was yet another significant advancement of women in the Bahamas when the government committed to full equality for women and men in the Constitution, specifically gender equality, and making those changes and those amendments to our laws nationally. This brought about the gender equality bills that were rejected by the Bahamian people at large. Interestingly enough, as I think that for us specifically in the Bahamas, as much as we thought that this was the advancement for women, this was an issue. And there are lots of reasons for those rejections. So the reasons for those rejections of those bills, we know what have been because, first of all, gender equality would have been used in the wrong context. So herein, we see that those amendments themselves to the Constitution were directly addressing equality of both sexes and not gender equality. So that may have been one of the reasons why these bills were rejected, as well as the fact that discrimination based on sex is prohibited in human rights treaties. So including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, both that were ratified in 2008 by the Bahamas. They speak directly to the elimination of arbitrary behavior towards foreigners, although not giving a guarantee to the same rights to Bahamians. So technically, these bills were not being brought to the Bahamian people in the right context. So this is one of the reasons why I believe that the bills would have been rejected. And of course, again, the Bahamas did not have a national no campaign. So the democratic process would have been incorrect as well. So it was more of a referenda that was brought to the Bahamian public or to the populace that would not have been done where our democracy would have been preserved. And so we saw an authoritative approach to these bills, and at the same time, they were also done incorrectly because the context was completely wrong here. And so for that reason, I do believe that Bahamian people are bright enough to know that this was wrong and they rejected it. Another reason would have been also because it was political, but I do believe for the most part, it was relative to the language. The language was all wrong. And so we also have seen that in 2018, the UN Human Rights Council also reviewed the Bahamas, and the Bahamian government rejected proposals to address discrimination on the grounds of sexual orientation and gender identity. And this happened simply because the Bahamas says that they respect the Christian values which have been set in place that set societal norms for the country. So it's in this context that although the idea was that the advancement of women's rights was what we desire, what we want, it was 100% something that we want as women and we want to see it happen. It was not done correctly. And for that reason, the Bahamian people rejected the referendum. And there are still some people who are very upset. I had the opportunity I was asked to speak to no, and I spoke to a group of women and I gave the reason why it was a no. And of course, when it was rejected, people were very upset at me. But at the end of the day, those were valid reasons for why those bills were rejected. Next slide, please. So women's rights today. As women began to advance in the country, there was a need to address constitutional inequalities. A minute, please, sorry. Constitutional inequalities that would bring about a significant change in the lives of women and children in the country. The Bahamas committed to and ratified the Convention on the Elimination and Discrimination of Women, CEDAW, in 1993. So there has been many recommendations that have been set aside and presented to the United Nations for the Bahamas. And one of those recommendations would have been advanced in accordance with this convention. And as of recent, the Global Women's Rights Organization, Women's Human Rights Campaign, Bahamas Chapter, WHRC. And so I think we have to, not I think, but there is, it's essential that people identify and are aware of the fact that this bill, these bills themselves are, these bills speak specifically to the recommendation speaks specifically to the fact that we have no women's rights organizations here in the Bahamas. And so WHRC Bahamas would be actually the first women's human rights organization here. One of the things that I think I should also inform you of is the fact that we do have women's organizations. We just don't have women's rights organizations, and there is a difference. So we have a Zonta that is here. Zonta addresses gender-based violence, and then we have a few other initiatives that address these issues that women would have within the society. But we do not have any organization other than Women's Human Rights Campaign that really addresses women's rights here in the Bahamas. So this is major for the country, and it's amazing to see that CEDAW is in line with this specific organization, and it will actually be able to meet those targets that that committee has actually set in place to make sure that the Bahamas meets specific requirements as it relates to women's rights. Next slide, please. Oh, can we go back? I'm sorry, I didn't speak on CRC. And I'm just going to touch on CRC because CRC doesn't specifically speak to women's rights, but there, in some instances, CRC is also included in CEDAW in terms of protecting children's rights. So Bahamas also committed to and ratified the Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1991. And although not incorporated into national law, the Constitution of Bahamas does include specific rights and provisions that apply regardless of age. So we haven't actually applied any of that convention in terms of our laws, but we still do have in the Constitution certain rights that do actually protect children. And so in some instance, to some element, we do conclude that they are fundamental human rights and not so much rights specifically directed towards children. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to play the video for you guys so that you can learn a little bit more of the Women's Human Rights Campaign.
It reaffirms the rights of women set out in the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on 18 December 1979. Further developed in the CEDAW Committee General Recommendations, it was adopted inter alia in the United Nations Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women, 1993.
CEDAW defines discrimination against women as any distinction, exclusion, or restriction made on the basis of sex, which has the effect or purpose of impairing or nullifying the recognition, enjoyment, or exercise by women, irrespective of their marital status, on a basis of equality of men and women, of human rights and fundamental freedoms in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil, or any other field.
Recent changes replacing the category of sex, which is biological, with gender, which refers to stereotyped sex roles, in United Nations documents, strategies, and actions has led to confusion that undermines protection of women's human rights and goes against CEDAW. This has led to the promotion of a right to the protection of such identities, eroding the gains made by the women over decades. Women's rights achieved on the basis of sex are now being undermined by incorporation of concepts such as gender identity and sexual orientations and gender identities into international documents.
Men who claim a female gender identity are able to assert in law, policies, and practice that they are members of the category of women, which is the category that based upon sex. The Declaration is reaffirming CEDAW's commitment to ensuring the full implementation of human rights of women and of girls as an inalienable, integral, and invisible part of all human rights and fundamental freedoms. Recognizing that in the first decades of the United Nations human rights approach, there was a clear understanding that discrimination against women was based upon sex.
Noting that United Nations human rights agreements, policies, strategies, actions, and documents recognize that sex role stereotypes, now more commonly called gender stereotypes, are harmful to women and girls.
Recognizing that the clear concept of sex role stereotyping has now been confused through the use of the language of gender.
Recognizing that the use of puberty-suppressing drugs, cross-sex hormones, and surgery on children are harmful practices as defined by Part 5 of the Joint General Recommendation number 31 of CEDAW.
Next slide, please. So we have an idea of what the Women's Human Rights Campaign really stands for, and it was it was established on the basis of what CEDAW speaks to and the protection of women. And there are so many things going on in the world as it relates to women, you know, and we're talking about rape culture, we're talking about surrogacy. And with surrogacy, this is using women as vessels, you know, versus allowing a mother, a female to have a child and to be a mother. Motherhood is completely different from surrogacy. We're talking about the harvesting of uteruses. We're talking about pornography, which is the violence and degradation of women as entertainment, prostitution, where women are commodities, forced childbearing, where women are enslaved and denied personal autonomy and bodily integrity, sex cemented into law as mutable, which is changeable. And so this is also a part of the female erasure process. And then of course, just straight out female erasure, where women are dehumanized. And with women being dehumanized, you know, we have, as females, an inherent right of men. This is where men decide that they will objectify, degrade, exploit, enslave, beat up women physically, emotionally, and financially. And so this is happening in many countries all over the world. And in some instances, it's happening in the Bahamas. And we are either not aware of it or we are ignorant to it. So for the most part, it's very important that WHRC brings awareness to what's going on. And in many cases, we find that some of these activities are happening. It's just that we're not even aware that we are actually being exposed to this activity. Some of these things are happening in our everyday lives, and we're not even aware that it's an issue. We have made these things social norms, so it becomes acceptable. And so for that reason, it's hard for women to advocate or to protect each other. And we've become conflated in a group of different issues and things that have caused women, and particularly women's rights, to be pushed to the side or ignored. And so WHRC speaks to advocacy at this level as it relates to women. And so WHRC Bahamas chapter specifically is focused on promoting public education and dissecting the amalgamation of women's rights within the conflation of the LGBTQ agenda. And so I wish to say that we are not against the LGBT community at all. We're not saying that we're not being mean, or we're not saying that people do not have rights. 100%, we believe that everyone has human rights. What we are saying is that those rights are not going to be at the forefront, at our expense, so at the expense of women. And we know that the LGBTQ has an agenda, but they haven't really specifically outlined what their rights are. And that's something for me personally. I've said that they need to address what their rights are. And so we've seen in many countries where people are passing laws or changing their constitutions in order to make their constitutions more aligned with inclusion, which is fine. However, with them doing that, they have, of course, set laws. And now we know where those countries stand and those individuals in those countries, you know, what laws will impact them and how they can now utilize their rights or what rights they have. However, the issue is that the conflation of all of these rights have become an issue where women have become, are being erased. And this is happening within UN documents because gender has become more of a trend than it has become what it is. It is a terminology. However, it becomes a matter of people saying their pronouns and, it's how I feel versus what is scientifically correct. And so it's so important that we are cautious and we recognize that this is happening, and this is happening all over the world. And so WHRC is committed to public education. So we offer masterclasses to small groups of women specifically. Unfortunately, no men, but we also do presentations like this to large groups that are all inclusive to men as well. because we do believe and we know that men also have influence, and most men are connected to another woman. And so this is also to the benefit of them as well. So while we are also focused on developing subject matter experts on women's rights issues, and we know that we have a few of them: surrogacy, pornography, prostitution. All of these things are happening. Some of these things are happening in the Bahamas, so we can't be dismissive of it. But that's really what we are focused on. And we also are very focused on matters pertaining to women's health, as well as, again, maintaining language and policies and laws that protect the rights of women and girls based on sex and not on gender. So we are not an organization that promotes genderism or any form of gender. We are not against it per se, but we do believe that women are who they are based on their sex, and that is the way you were born. And so that does impact the LGBTQ community, and it does impact transgenderism. Next slide, please. And so if anyone has any questions, you're free to ask me. Also, if you would like to email, if you feel a bit more comfortable asking me in private, you can send me an email at bahamas@womensdeclaration.org. And we also accept donations. And we are working on a few projects. Mainly, we are currently working on the Bahamas' chapter's website, because we want to highlight women who are focused also on maintaining the language of sex and not gender in policies. And we also would love to, again, develop women who also are able to give their opinion and express how they feel about certain matters pertaining to women's rights, as well as the issues that women face. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask me. I will answer it to the best of my ability.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Rochelle Dean. A very, very informative presentation. I learned a whole lot, took my notes, because the more you know, the more you definitely grow. We're going to ask our Rotarians to email any questions that they may have as it relates to the presentation to you. And at this time, we're going to call on Rotarian Yvette with the thanks to the speaker.
Good afternoon, Ms. Dean. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Nassau, I thank you for such a timely message on women's rights in the Bahamas. I'm sure the information you shared was beneficial and valuable to all of us. That's the women and the men on the call today. It was great to hear about our societal changes over the years and the steps we have taken as a nation for positive change from 1962 to present. I particularly like the information on international inclusion for Bahamian women and Women's Human Rights Campaign. Once again, thank you. It was a pleasure having you today.
Thank you so much.
Back over to you, Alandra.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. We're gonna now go into our four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? We're now going to ask past presidents, will it be fun? Will it be fun? Will it be fun? Awesome. We're now going to ask past President Stephen Dean to come with the Rotary Toast.
I'm going to jump in for past President Stephen and say a toast, or maybe not. Why don't we have one of our Rotarians say this toast for us? Can we have past President Lawrence or Larry? If you can give us the final toast, please. Prepping, it's worth it. Still muted. We're still muted, Larry. No, we can't hear you.
How's that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. For all the Rotarians who are here, and those Rotarians who may be there, let us join with Rotarians everywhere in a toast to Rotary all over the world. Rotary all
over the world. Rotary around the world. Rotary around the world. Toast.
Toast.
Thank you. And at this time, we're going to ask President Mike to come with the adjournment.
Well, RCN, we've now come to the end of another dynamic and very informative weekly meeting. I want to thank each and every one of you for your attendance. And as stated earlier, we're going to try and get some idea of if you could respond in the RCN chat as regards your COVID vaccination status, if you don't mind, because we want to try and organize in-person meetings again. And that status is one of the requirements of the Nassau Sailing Club for people entering the facility. Again, thank you for your attendance. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Good afternoon,
everyone. Bye-bye.